You know those days where everything seems to go wrong? You wake up late, you stub your toe, you don't eat breakfast, you're stuck in traffic, you have an argument, you're overlooked at work. We have all had those days where nothing seems to go right. Wouldn't it be great if when we had days like this, we could just start over? Wouldn't it be great if we got a second chance on those days that simply seem to go south? This was the motivation behind a recent devotional for Proverbs 31 Ministries, and I'm talking about it today on my YouTube channel. Several months ago, I had a day like the one I just described in my introduction. So many things went wrong. I was worrying, stressing, and still functioning on E. Pressure was mounting in my life, and I probably needed to take some time and just be still and slow down. I think you know what I'm talking about. But sometimes it feels difficult to slow down and take a moment for yourself when everyone has a need in your life, especially your children. My day culminated with taking the kids where they needed to go. And there was a very small margin to get them there and picked up on time. In between dropping the last child off so I could go and pick up the other child and then get back to pick up the other child, I hit a truck. Let's just say it wasn't pretty. Y'all, the truck was so big, it didn't even know that I hit the back of it. Also, the only damage that was done to my car. So that truck just drove on off, and then I took my beat up car and drove it into the neighboring grocery store parking lot, and then I had a huge, ugly cry. I was so ashamed, discouraged, broken, tired, and I just wished I could start the day over again. Go back in time and erase the last few events. Do one or two things differently, and then maybe the accident wouldn't be a reality. Have you ever wanted to just start over? Have you ever wanted to go back in time and do a few things differently? That was the motivation behind my devotion for Proverbs 31, the God who helps us begin again. Now, don't get me wrong, God is not a magician magically doing away with our mishaps, mistakes, and blunders, but He is able to help us start over when we would rather climb into our bed, cover our head with our pillows, and stay there indefinitely. With God's help, however, we don't have to get stuck dwelling on what went wrong. In my case, it was an accident, but sometimes the blunders are not surrounding material things. Sometimes we need God to help us begin again in our relationships. Sometimes there are relational blunders we make with our words, with our actions, with our attitudes. We hurt someone's feelings and sever the relationship. Sometimes we have financial blunders that set us back for years. It may require us to save, get an extra job, and sacrifice for an indefinite amount of time in order to dig ourselves out of the financial hole that we put ourselves in. Sometimes we have personal blunders centered around the words that we tell ourselves when no one else is watching. We may lose years from our lives because we believe the lies that we tell ourselves that are simply not true. Y'all, wherever we need to start again, I'm so grateful that 2 Corinthians 5:17 is applicable to our situations, no matter what they are. 2 Corinthians says, "Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come. The old has gone. The new is here." Here in 2 Corinthians, the Apostle Paul reminds us we don't have to be stuck in our mistakes because we have been made new in Christ Jesus. Originally, he was writing to the new Christians in Corinth. These Corinthians who became Christians because of Paul's message struggled with true freedom in Christ because of the power of the secular and pagan influences in Corinth. Paul reminds the Corinthian Christians, just as he is reminding us today, that when we place our hope in Jesus Christ, we are made new. Everything about us is made new, including our perspective. Our relationship with Christ will not enable us to change our past, but it will make our future new in Him. Whereas we may have previously felt tethered and stuck to our mistakes, God says, I will give you a new lens with which to view your life. No matter what it is, you can get a new perspective to view your blunders, mishaps, and mistakes. This perspective encompasses hope for the future, not doom for the past. There is hope for even the worst of circumstances, whether they be financial blunders, relational hiccups, bad mindsets, and yes, a car accident. God is able to take our toughest situations and turn them around for our good. So, don't allow yourself to be stuck in analyzing what went wrong and beating yourself up in the process. Sis, you are a new creation, and God will help you begin again. This was true for me on that Wednesday afternoon, sitting in that parking lot, having a good old-fashioned ugly cry. And this is true for you today.